Welcome back students to the 8th part of life process chapter. In this video we are going to discuss about transportation in human beings. Before that, let us talk about transportation in unicellular organisms. In very simple animals, materials are transported through diffusion. Example, amoeba, paramecium, euglena. When we talk about multicellular organisms, as the size of an organism increases, its surface area to volume ratio decreases. This means it has relatively less surface area available for the substances to diffuse through. Therefore, large animals cannot rely on diffusion. They require specialized transport system. Transport system in humans is also called circulatory system. Circulatory system has two parts, blood vascular system and lymphatic system. Blood vascular system consists of blood vessel and heart. First, let us discuss about blood. Blood is a fluid connective tissue. Blood consists of the liquid part, plasma, and cellular part or formed element consisting of RBC, WBC and platelets. Now in this diagram, if you see, 55% of blood is made up of plasma, which contains water, ions, proteins, nutrients, waste and gases. 1% is made up by platelets and white blood cells. Platelets are also known as thrombocytes, and white blood cells is WBC, which is also known as leukocytes. And 44% is made up of RBC, which is red blood cells, also known as erythrocytes. Now moving on to the functions of blood. First function, transportation. Blood transports oxygen and nutrients to the cell, carbon dioxide and waste away from the cell, hormones to target tissues. Second function, regulation. Helps maintain stable body temperature, pH, water and electrolyte levels. Third function, protection. Clotting prevents fluid loss. White blood cells protect body against diseases. Now the second part, blood vessels. They are tubes in which the blood flows. There are three types of blood vessels: arteries, veins and capillaries. Arteries are blood vessels which brings pure blood from the heart. They branch into smaller tubes called arterioles. Veins are blood vessels which take impure blood back to the heart. They branch into smaller tubes called venules. Capillaries are very tiny blood vessels. They help to connect arteries and veins. Now let us discuss about difference between artery and vein. Artery, they carry blood from the heart. They carry oxygenated blood. Only one exception is there, pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery carries impure blood. Now about veins, they carry blood to the heart. They carry deoxygenated blood except pulmonary vein, which carries pure blood. Now arteries are normally bright red in color while veins are dark red in color. Arteries walls are elastic and thick. Veins have thin and less elastic walls. Arteries don't have valves, but veins have valves. Valves are present to prevent the backflow of blood. Coming to arteries, we can feel a pulse in the arteries, but in veins we cannot feel pulse. Now moving on to the third and the most important part of circulatory system, heart. Human heart is a four-chambered and we have closed circulatory system. It is enclosed in a pericardial sac. Heart valves have three layers: epicardium, myocardium and endocardium. Internal cavity is made up of four chambers: the right atrium, also known as right auricle, right ventricle, left atrium or left auricle and left ventricle. Right and left side is separated by septum. Right side deals with deoxygenated blood, that is impure blood, and left side deals with oxygenated blood or pure blood. Septum helps to prevent the mixing of pure and impure blood. Now moving on to heart valves. Valves present between atria and ventricle are called cuspid valve, also known as atrioventricular valves. Right side it is tricuspid valve and left side it is bicuspid valve, also known as mitral valve. Valves present at the base of large blood vessels leaving ventricle are known as semilunar valves. Pulmonary artery, it is pulmonary semilunar valve, and aorta, it is known as aortic semilunar valve. We'll study about aorta and pulmonary artery when we are discussing about structure of heart. Coronary arteries supply blood to the heart. So first let us discuss about the right side of the heart. Veins which bring blood to the heart, that is right atria, are vena cava. Vena cava has two branches. Superior vena cava, which brings impure blood from upper body parts, and inferior vena cava, which brings impure blood from lower body parts. From right atria, impure blood moves to right ventricles. From right ventricle, impure blood leaves heart to lungs through pulmonary artery. So pulmonary artery is the only artery in the human body which carries impure blood, or blood which is having less amount of oxygen. Now moving to the left side of heart. Veins which bring pure blood to the left atria from the lungs is the pulmonary veins. So pulmonary vein is the only vein in the human body which carries pure blood. From left atria, pure blood moves to left ventricle. From left ventricle, blood vessel aorta takes blood to other body parts. Valves are present to prevent backflow of blood. Now this is the diagram which shows the parts of the heart. So first one is inferior vena cava. You can see inferior vena cava at the bottom of the heart. Actually it brings blood from the lower part of the body. Now second number is given to superior vena cava. It brings blood, that is impure blood, from upper parts of the body. Then both of this will enter number 3, that is right atrium. From right atrium through the tricuspid valve, which is given number 4 here, it moves to right ventricle, which is denoted by 5. From 5 it is moving to 6, that is the pulmonary artery, which is going to take the blood to the lungs. The pulmonary artery also have branches. Now from the lungs, the pulmonary vein, which is denoted by number 9, brings blood to 10, that is left atria. From left atria, moving through bicuspid valve, blood goes to 12, that is left ventricles. Bicuspid valve is given 11 number. You can check in the diagram. Now from the left ventricle, aorta takes, that is aorta is 14. It takes blood from the heart to different parts of the body. So there are different branches for aorta. All those branches are shown here. The descending aorta, that is 16, it is taking blood to the lower parts of the body. So this is about the parts of the heart. Now let us talk about the flow of blood. So first we'll start with vena cava. Vena cava is the vein which brings impure blood to right atrium. So from right atrium through the tricuspid valve, blood moves to the right ventricle. So from right ventricle through the semilunar valves, it moves to pulmonary artery. So pulmonary artery is taking blood to lungs. From lungs, impure blood is getting converted into pure blood, and pulmonary vein takes the blood back to the left atrium. From left atrium through the bicuspid valve, blood moves to the left ventricle, and from left ventricle passing through the semilunar valve, blood enters aorta. Aorta is the artery which is going to take blood to the all other parts of the body. Now this slide shows the diagrammatic picture of the flow of blood. So we'll again start with vena cava. You can see superior and inferior vena cava entering into the heart. And from the heart you can see pulmonary artery moving to the lungs, and from lungs you can see the pulmonary vein coming back to the heart, and you also can see the aorta which is coming out. It is branching. One branch is going to heart, to the upper body parts like the head and arms, and one part is moving down. It is entering into the liver. That artery is known as the hepatic artery. It will enter into the kidney and other lower body parts like legs and stomach and intestine. From stomach and intestine, the veins will move to the liver through the hepatic portal vein. And from the liver, the impure blood is collected by the hepatic vein and it joins the inferior vena cava. And this again goes back to the heart. Same way from kidney, renal veins are taking the impure blood, joining the inferior vena cava and going back to the heart. So the red color is showing oxygenated blood and the blue color line is showing the deoxygenated blood. Now let us talk about double circulation, a type of circulation in which blood flows through the heart twice is called double circulation. It includes pulmonary circulation and systemic circulation. Now in this diagram, we'll start with the heart. From the heart, impure blood goes to the lungs through pulmonary artery, and from the lungs, pure blood enters into the heart through pulmonary vein. Aorta takes blood to the body parts, and from the body parts, blood comes back to the heart through vena cava. So when blood goes to the lungs and comes back, that is pulmonary circulation, and when blood starts from the heart to the body parts and comes back, it is a systemic circulation. So twice blood is coming to the heart, one in the form of pure blood and the other in the form of impure blood. So this is called double circulation. Now moving on to cardiac cycle. Cardiac cycle explains the working of human heart from the ending of one heartbeat to the beginning of the next. There are two phases in cardiac cycle, diastole and systole. First about diastole. In diastole, heart muscles relaxes and refills blood. Example, when atrium receives blood. So in diastole, the heart is not working, it is just relaxing. In systole, heart valves are contracting and they are pumping blood. Atrium pumps blood into the ventricles and ventricles pumping blood into the blood vessels. So in systole, heart is doing work. Now in this diagram, you can see diastole and systole. In diastole, the heart relaxes, blood pressure is very low and blood fills the heart. You can see arrows showing that blood is entering into the heart. Now coming to systole, the heart contracts, the blood pressure rises and the blood moves out of the vessel. So arrows are showing that blood is moving out of the vessel. So in one, heart is relaxed and in the other, heart is contracted. Now moving to blood pressure. Force exerted by blood against the wall of the blood vessel is called blood pressure. It is because heart pumps blood into the artery. Arteries experience blood pressure. Pressure of the blood inside the artery during systole is called systolic pressure, and pressure of blood inside the artery during diastole is called diastolic pressure. Now if you take this graph which is showing how blood pressure is measured, you can see that the high peaks it is written systolic pressure and the low peak is written diastolic pressure, because during systolic pressure the heart is working, it is contracting and more work is done, but during diastole the heart is relaxing. Now about normal BP. So normal BP, it is shown in green color here. So BP is always represented by systolic pressure by diastolic pressure. The systolic pressure for normal BP is 120 or less than that, and diastolic pressure is 80 or less. Next one condition is the pre-high. Pre-high is not with high BP but in a medium state. In that systolic pressure will be 121 to 139 and diastolic pressure will be between 81 to 89. And when people are having high BP, they will have systolic pressure 140 or above and diastolic pressure 90 or above. Now this is the machine which is used to measure blood pressure. It is known as sphygmomanometer. Now talking about walls of auricles and ventricles. The right hand side of the heart is smaller than the left side. The muscles of the left ventricle is 2 to 3 times thicker than the right ventricle. In this diagram you can see that left ventricle the muscles are more thicker compared to the right ventricle. The ventricles have thicker muscular walls than the atria. This is because blood is pumped out of the heart at greater pressure from the ventricles compared to the atria. Now moving on to pulse rate. Number of contractions, that is beat of the heart per minute, is called pulse rate. It is represented by BMP. Heartbeat may vary according to the body's physical needs. Now in this chart I have put some normal heartbeat rates. For infants it is about 120 to 160. For a child about 2 years old it is 90 to 140. Preschooler it is 80 to 110. School age, that is little bit bigger students, it is 75 to 100. For adolescents it is 60 to 90, and for an adult human being it should be around 60 to 100. Now we will be talking about blood clotting and lymphatic system in the next video. Thank you for watching.